He stood in the hallway, arms crossed. I was drying dishes, 7:08 p.m., January 3rd. I remember because I had just turned off the local news. Then he said it. If you don't want a nursing home, pack your bag and get out. No build-up. No warning. Just that. I didn't answer. I just turned off the sink, walked to the laundry room and started folding my clothes. The quiet kind of folding, slow, deliberate. I took down the framed picture of his father, unplugged my phone charger, slipped my pills into a Ziploc. No fuss, no fight. I heard Fabiana in the kitchen say something about finally having their own space. I pretended not to hear. But I heard. Every word. If you're family, why does your first sentence come with an ultimatum? Truth is, I saw it coming. The missing chairs at Thanksgiving. The birthday dinner where they left early because the baby was fussy. Still hearing it out loud, it cracked something. Not because I was shocked, but because part of me still hoped I was wrong. I wanted to ask. So what is it you're trying to free yourselves from? A woman who pays half the mortgage. But I didn't. I kept folding. There's a kind of shame when your own child talks to you like you're in the way. And stupid me, I blamed myself first. Maybe I should have said no when they asked to move in. Maybe I gave too much room. Maybe I waited too long to draw a line. I'll help you pack, Fabiana offered. She didn't look at me. That's when Lisa, my coworker from the clinic, called to check in. I told her straight. They kicked me out. She paused, then said, "Do they know who they're messing with?" I laughed. But my hand shook when I zipped the suitcase. I didn't cry, but I did stare too long at the door. Because leaving isn't always strength. Sometimes it's what you do to survive without burning everything. 1 hour later, a black Lincoln pulled up to the curb. He opened the blinds when he heard the engine, and that's when I saw his face shift. I hadn't said goodbye yet. The driver opened the back door of the Lincoln at exactly 8:14 p.m. I still remember the clock on the dash. I stepped in with my duffel bag, my blood pressure meds, and one photo him in uniform, me holding our son at the base gate in El Paso. Enrique sat beside me. Still had the same cologne. He didn't ask what happened, just looked at my suitcase and said, "That's it." I nodded. He didn't push. I appreciated that. The ride was silent until halfway down I-95. Then it hit me how fast it all happened. 1 second, I'm buying groceries for them at Publix. The next, I'm holding a bag like a stranger. I caught myself wondering if I'd left the iron on. That's the dumb part. I still worried about their house. You want to talk about family? Okay. Then tell me why my son only calls me mom when he needs a cosigner. I've covered his rent at Penn State, quietly paid off the last $3,800 of his car loan, skipped 2 dental appointments so his baby could get that special formula. Never told anyone, not even Enrique. I thought that's what moms do. But now I think maybe that's why they thought I had nothing left. You never told me they moved in with you, Enrique said. I shrugged. Didn't think I needed to. He looked straight ahead. You did. And I knew he was right. That was my mistake. I stayed quiet so long they rewrote the story, left out everything I gave. Worse, I helped them forget. There was a moment back in July when I found a used envelope in the trash. A notice about the refinance. My name wasn't on it. I asked gently. They said it was just paperwork. I didn't push. I was afraid of being called difficult. I should have pushed. What kind of family hides documents from the person still paying the water bill? I leaned back in the seat. The photo was still in my lap. I held it tighter. We pulled into the guest house driveway, but Enrique didn't get out. He just said, "Wait here. Someone wants to talk to you." When I stepped into Enrique's office the next morning, it smelled like burnt coffee and paper. Nothing fancy. Just his small place behind the storage units on 52nd and Main. He still used the same desk from the 90s chipped wood, a sticky drawer, a stack of yellow legal pads. He motioned for me to sit, then pulled a folder from the drawer. Manila rubber banded. No drama. Just handed it over. "Open it," he said. I did. The first page was a deed our house, but not the current version they had shown me in April. This was an older filing one I hadn't seen in years. My name was still there. Sole owner. Recorded before my son's name was ever mentioned. "Where did you get this?" I asked. He shrugged. "Your husband left it with me. Said, if they ever try anything dumb, give her this." I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. There was more. Notes about a trust. A memo from our old accountant. And buried near the bottom, a recent request to change ownership unsigned. Rejected by the bank because of one missing document mine. That's what cracked me. I almost signed that paper in June. They said it was for streamlining the refinance. I was tired. We'd just gotten back from urgent care with the baby. I didn't read the whole thing. I was this close. I looked Enrique in the eye. So they tried. Just didn't finish. He nodded. They needed your name. They still do. And that's what got me thinking. If they're so sure I'm useless, why does my signature still hold all the weight? You can't preach family with one hand and shove eviction papers with the other. Doesn't work that way. Enrique didn't say much. Just poured me weak coffee and said, "Whatever you decide, don't rush. Let them show you who they are." I took the folder home, sat on the guest bed, and stared at it for an hour. Part of me felt stupid for not asking more questions sooner, for thinking love meant trust without checking the fine print. I put the folder in a fireproof bag and zipped it shut because I knew they'd ask again, just not in the way I expected. It was 9:47 a.m. January 4th. I was making oatmeal just the instant kind with cinnamon. My old phone buzzed next to the toaster. I almost ignored it, thought it was another calendar reminder from some appointment I forgot to cancel. But then I saw the name. Fabiana. It was a voice memo. 32 seconds. No subject line. I hit play. Just tell her she's going to a facility. If she resists, cut the internet, cut the meds. Her voice, calm, flat, like she was reading off a grocery list. I froze, my hand still holding the spoon. I didn't breathe until it ended. Then I tapped save. Didn't forward it. Didn't panic. I opened my email, attached the file, and sent it to myself. Then again to another account I use for bills. Just in case. Later, I called Shannon, my old co-worker from the pharmacy. I didn't tell her everything, just said I'd gotten something strange. She said, "Want me to log the timestamp for you just in case I did?" She did. She didn't ask questions. That's the kind of friend you keep. That afternoon, I replayed the recording in my head, over and over. And here's what hit me. She didn't say, "Mom." Not once. Just her. Like I was already erased. Like the only step left was logistics. If I'm just her, why do you still need my documents? That night, I sat alone in the guest room and cried. Quiet. Controlled. But it came. Not because I was scared of them, but because I felt stupid. I missed signs. The way she handled my pills when we moved. The Wi-Fi suddenly needing a password. The bank mail accidentally going to their room. I let it slide. I told myself they were just overwhelmed. New baby, new bills. I excused every little thing because I didn't want to make noise. Didn't want to risk not seeing my grandson. But that audio, that ended excuses. I didn't say a word to them. Not yet. I just made sure the file was backed up 3 times. Because if they thought I was out of the picture, I wasn't about to correct them. We met at 2:00 p.m. on January 7th, inside the small Bank of Westwood branch across from the Dollar Tree. It was cold. I wore my old navy coat and held my folder like it was a shield. They were already seated, my son, with his blazer too tight at the shoulders. Fabiana, with her usual smile that didn't reach her eyes. The manager on duty. Lacey waved me in. She used to be my teller before she got promoted. Young, sharp, no nonsense. "Glad you brought your own copies," she said, nodding at my folder. "Most people just sign and hope for the best." They slid the packet toward me. I didn't touch it. I just asked, "Why is my name being removed from the deed?" Fabiana blinked. "It's just cleaner for refinancing, Mom." I opened my folder, pulled out the older deed, my name, my ownership. Cleaner for who? And if it's just refinancing, why not leave me on? She opened her mouth, then closed it. My son leaned in. "We're not doing anything shady. You're still family." I looked straight at him. "Then why did you start this with a threat?" He turned red, said nothing. I asked again, "If you can afford the loan, why do you need my credit? Why does it say I'm moving into a care facility in Section B?" Lacey's eyebrows went up. "This wasn't disclosed in the initial intake." Fabiana stiffened. "That was just a placeholder." That's when she slipped. She muttered, "We thought it would go faster if we framed it that way." Framed it. Lacey's tone changed. "I'm going to have legal review this before you sign anything." I nodded. "Thank you." We walked out in silence. They didn't say goodbye. Truth is, I was so close to signing that same form 2 months ago. I remembered holding the pen while the baby was crying, and they said, "It's just paperwork." I wanted peace. I didn't want to be the difficult one. But today I wasn't alone. And that changed everything. As I stepped outside, I felt the folder press against my chest like armor and realized I was finally seeing clearly. I just didn't know what they'd try next. January 10th, 12 a.m. We were in one of those side rooms at the bank glass walls, uncomfortable chairs, the kind of table that feels too big for just 3 people. Lacey, the bank officer, had stepped out to make copies. I stayed quiet, flipping through my folder again, just for show. They thought I was just being slow. Then Fabiana leaned in, voice low but clear. "Just like we rehearsed mom signs we send the sale next week. Keep it moving." I didn't blink, just looked up. Lacey had walked back in. She froze mid-step. I turned to her. "You heard that too, right?" There was a pause. Then Lacey said, "I'm going to document that. Give me 1 second." My son rubbed his eyes. "You're twisting everything." I shook my head. "You just said you needed a signature to refinance. Now it's a sale." Fabiana jumped in. "It's a misunderstanding, Mom. Why would we sell the house?" I leaned back. "You tell me. Why does the draft agreement name a buyer silence? If we're family, why does every conversation feel like a negotiation?" Lacey came back with a printed transcript from the recording system they use during sensitive meetings. She placed it in front of me, then looked at them. "This is being reviewed before anything else continues." I didn't say a word. I just tucked the paper into my folder and stood. As I walked out, I felt the weight of what had just happened. It wasn't just a win. It was proof, but it didn't feel good, not really. Because somewhere deep down, I was still that mom who had driven her son to college in a 2006 Honda Civic, selling her wedding ring to pay for books. I had ignored too much, hoping love would catch up to reality. I called Enrique from the car, told him I needed a legal witness next time, not just a bank officer. He replied, "Already got one lined up. Someone who doesn't blink." I told him good, because I'm done blinking. And that was before the email came. It was 2:14 p.m. when my phone rang. I was sitting by the window at Penny's Cafe on 5th stirring a cup of plain black coffee. $2.85, no cream, no sugar. The same spot I used to wait at when my grandson had soccer practice nearby. Familiar table. Unfamiliar tone in my son's voice. "Mom, what is this? What are you doing?" I didn't answer right away, just took a sip. Watched a bus drive by. He kept going. "You talked to a lawyer. You got something written down?" "Why we're family," I finally said, If we're family, why does everything require me to sign something? He paused, then changed the subject. You blindsided us. That word, blindsided, as if I hadn't seen this coming, as if I hadn't stayed quiet through every dinner where they left me to clean up while Fabiana bragged about streamlining the household, as if I hadn't felt it when they started calling me her instead of Mom. You okay? That was Penny, the owner. She'd just dropped off a fresh napkin. I nodded. She added, You look like you're talking to someone who thinks you owe them rent. I smiled. Not at the joke, but at the accuracy. I turned back to the call, still ongoing. I'm just trying to understand what this is, he said again. Why now? I asked. Why not 2 months ago when you changed the Wi-Fi password and told me to stop hogging the internet in my own home? His voice lowered. It wasn't like that. No, I asked. Then what was it like? He mumbled something about miscommunication. I said nothing. Truth is, I wasn't trying to win. I just wanted to stop feeling like I had to ask permission to exist. But even now, part of me ached. I missed my grandson. I missed being grandma, not her. I didn't hang up. I just set the phone down on the table and let it run out of words. The next morning, the lawyer sent over the draft. It was February 11th, 6:30 p.m. I parked my old Toyota Camry across the street right outside their cul-de-sac in Westbrook. I brought a lemon pie from the Safeway bakery, $7.99, still cold. My hands shook a little as I rang the doorbell. Not from fear, but from holding too much in for too long. They greeted me like nothing had happened. Mom Fabiana smiled like she didn't call me a burden 2 weeks ago. My son kissed my cheek, overly warm, like he rehearsed it. The dining table was set too neatly, like for company. I played along, took my seat, poured water, said thank you when they passed the rolls. Then Fabiana said in her sweet, rehearsed voice, We'd love to take care of you. No need for drama, right? That's when I reached into my purse, pulled out my phone, tapped voice memos, and pressed play. Her voice from the message she accidentally sent me. Just tell her she's going to a facility. If she resists, cut the internet, cut the meds. The air dropped. Forks froze. My son blinked fast, then said, That's out of context. Is it? I asked. Because the date was 2 days after I gave you that check for $8,000. She got up and walked out. My son just stared at the pie like it had something to say. I leaned back. If you were planning to care for me, why rehearse a lie? He stammered something about miscommunication and pressure. I asked again. Then why was your first step control not a conversation? Across the table, I watched the boy I raised sit in silence. For a second, I wanted to apologize just to make it stop. But I remembered something worse than this moment. The time I ignored the signs. When I let them change the title paperwork just for taxes and said nothing. That silence cost me too much already. I took my pie home untouched. The lawyer called that night. February 12th, 9:12 a.m. I was halfway through a lukewarm cup of coffee at Melrose Cafe when my phone buzzed. It was my son. No greeting. Just, let's keep this in the family. We'll make it right. I took a breath, wiped my hand on a napkin, and typed back, I already contacted my lawyer. 5 minutes later, another message came in from Fabiana. Are you sure you want to go down this road? We're still family. I didn't reply, but I had questions swirling in my head. If we're family, why did I find out from a voice memo? If you truly wanted peace, why rehearse how to manipulate me? I looked across the table. Clarice, my old coworker from the shelter, was staring at me over her toast. She raised an eyebrow and said, They're only calm when they think you're still useful. She wasn't wrong, but hearing it out loud still stung. I wasn't proud of what I felt. There was this flicker of shame, this whisper inside me saying, maybe I overreacted. Maybe I should have warned them before playing that clip. But then I remembered the fork drop, the silence, the way they looked at me not with regret, but with calculation. My lawyer, Mr. Kaplan, had already confirmed what Enrique handed me in the limo. The house deed was still in my name, all transfers unsigned. He also pulled the most recent inquiry from the county records. My son had tried to file a quit-claim deed using an outdated power of attorney. When I asked Mr. Kaplan if that counted as fraud, he said, "It's not just shady, it's prosecutable." I didn't want to send my son to court. I just wanted them to stop thinking I was disposable. Before leaving the cafe, I opened my notes app and typed one name, Ms. Trudy Ham, Adult Protective Services. It wasn't a threat. It was a backup plan. I paid my bill $8.45 for eggs and black coffee and headed to the notary office. It was March 6th, 11:17 a.m. The gate stuck a little when I pushed it, paint peeling, the kind of thing I used to fix without a word. But this time, I just noted it. Ms. Shaw, the title examiner, was already flipping through the documents on her clipboard. She didn't look at me when she said it. "It's clear. The deed's in your name. No legal transfer ever occurred." Then she looked up. "You want me to walk in with you?" I shook my head. "No. I think this part I'd do alone." I stepped into the front yard. There were toys strewn on the grass, my grandson's, and a scooter I bought last Christmas, still with the price sticker on it, $49.99. Funny what sticks in your head. My son came out the front door, phone in hand. He froze when he saw me. He didn't say anything. Neither did I. I walked past him slow but steady, into the living room. Same beige couch, same picture frames, but one photo of me was missing. I noticed. I sat in the old recliner, the one they once told me took up too much space. I ran my hand along the armrest. The fabric was worn just like me. And just like me, it was still standing. "You can't just walk in," my daughter-in-law finally said, arms crossed. I looked at her, calm. "Then explain this," I said, and handed her the printout from the county recorder's office. She scanned it, went pale. "If it's really your house, why did they plan to evict you with fake signatures? If it's really about family, why did they only panic after lawyers got involved?" Clarice texted me later that night. "You in?" I replied with a photo of the chair and one word: home. Truth is, I wanted to cry, but not because I was proud, because I had let it get this far. I saw the signs. I made excuses. I thought being quiet was the same as being respected. Now, I wasn't leaving, but I also wasn't staying quiet.